Well, welcome back, everybody. Tuesday morning show rolls on. If you were to glance at the NSIC men's basketball standings, you'd have to take probably a couple glances because it doesn't seem real of how conglomerate and how mixed up, how you could use any adjective to describe the top of the league standings. It just goes like this. There are basically 7 teams, maybe 8, that still have a chance to win this thing. There are 5 teams. You see it there. St. Paul, Southwest State, Winona, Mankato, St. Cloud are all 14-6. Duluth and the Dragons are just a game back at 13-7. That is the backdrop for the final week of the regular season. MSUM is at home, are the men, and they will host Winona and Mankato, the 2 teams that are directly in front of them in the league standings. That is the backdrop as we welcome in head men's basketball coach at Minnesota State University, Moorhead, Tim Bergstraser, to the show. So it's simple as that. Just win a couple games and you may win the conference. I mean, if I would have told you that 3 weeks ago, would you have believed me?
No, not really, to be honest. And this goes to show how stinking good the NSIC is. And
Man.
I've never seen something like it right now. And I feel like every year we're always saying it's just the league is what it is. But I just really feel like it hasn't been this much of a logjam or just jacked up as it is. So it'll be an interesting week here at the NSIC. I know a lot of people are going to be busy and there's going to be a lot of people looking at those box scores, but I'll always say it. If you're a competitor, man, like what else can you ask for? This is what it's all about.
So when you wrap up, you win Saturday, do you then look at the standings and what's your first reaction when you see where everything's at?
This is last Saturday.
Yeah, after you beat St. Paul.
We really haven't got caught up in it, I'll be honest about it. But just to get a little humor out of it, I took my brief glance at it and I looked at it for a good 10 seconds and I'm like, what the heck is going on right now? It's but you just got to revert yourself back to we really got to worry about ourselves. That's all we should be doing. And it's that time of the year, and it's fun, from people on the outside of like, hey, if this happens, if this whatever.
That's what I'm doing, man.
Yeah, like that. That's the fun part about it. But it's just for us internally, man. We got to worry about just resting our bodies, getting better. We got to tighten up on a handful of things still on both sides of the ball, and when it comes to Friday, hopefully play the best Dragon basketball we can, and we'll see what it shows up to be by the end of the weekend. But we really, really cannot get caught up in anything else other than that.
I feel like I've been asking you about Jacob Benninga for the last month and a half. So he comes back and plays last week, and then he goes the full bore, plays 21 minutes on Saturday. Just before we show what happened on Saturday, give us the backdrop, I guess, the decision-making and what went in to say, okay, he's ready to go.
Yeah, like I said last time we met, it was kind of a day-to-day deal.
Yeah.
And as we got to like midweek before playing at Duluth, trainer and Cobb, we've all talked and said, I think it's about that time just to slowly get him into the mix. And he was within practice a little bit and he felt comfortable. It's not going to be 100%. And I mean, regardless, he's a 6-year senior, so his body's already beat up. And then, but to throw him in there against Duluth, I mean, he was pretty dang happy. You get to see how giddy he was, as he should be, because I mean, everybody knows who he is as a person, how much time he puts in his game, and how much of a competitor he is. So it was more of a deal of we have to gradually increase his minutes here. I mean, I can't throw him out there the 38 minutes and play him for an entire half like I used to, of course. I'd love to do that, and I know he would like that, but we got to be smart with, getting him back and comfortable. So the Duluth game, you could tell he was a little, I don't want to say fully hesitant, but it wasn't the same, and he knew that, and we knew that's how it was going to be. And then going into the CSP game, obviously he showed that he was a little more comfortable than the Friday game. But to get 22 points in 21 minutes, I mean, that's pretty dang impressive. And just if anybody watched the game, the big time plays that he was making at the end, and so many guys on our team did a great job, but just the big time buckets that he was hitting near the end of that game and that stretch, we really needed someone to do it. I mean, he stepped up. So it's hard to only play him, 2-3 minutes at a time. And anytime you ask him, hey, how you doing? He's like, well, I feel fine, coach. Because that's just who he is. But, we just got to be smart about it. But trust me, our team's very happy that he's on that floor again.
We're watching, Tim, a couple of these baskets you're talking about, him driving to the basket, a step back 3. I mean, that's cold-blooded, what you need in late February to win basketball games. We're watching the 3 hit late. I mean, that's just what he does when he's healthy.
Yeah, and that's And again, we had a handful of guys do it. I mean, obviously, Carson Johnson had a great game. Sean Wysocki's been really
Really
playing
good.
well as a true freshman year as well. Jenny had some big buckets, but yeah, like that three, for example. If I remember the three buckets that Cobb had, it was like the step back. He had a scoop layup outside the paint. Then he had that big three near the end of the shot clock. I mean, that's just proven that's a guy that's been there and done that. You know what I mean? Like he's not afraid to step up and make those kind of plays. And I believe we got a couple of guys on our team that could do that too.
So that comes off the heels of the win on Friday night. I watched the end of this game, and this we were talking off air. I don't know if this is the basketball gods shining on you because you get the lead, then Duluth rallies, and they have a chance. They have three chances basically to win the game at the Horn.
Yeah, that was something else. And it's a little irony because I'm sure everybody saw the Mankato game and how they won off the missed free throw.
Yeah.
And, Carson, I had full trust in him to do it. And he went up there and, unfortunately missed the free throw. But when they got that rebound, I was like, wow, does this look familiar right now? And I was like, no way it's going to end the same for them this time, too, right? And sure, they got great looks. Yeah, there ain't no messing around with it. We got to do a better job of securing that 50-50 bar, just tipping it to the opposite end of the floor. But yeah, those basketball guys, they could go in your favor every once in a while. So, that was a brawl. That was a defensive back and forth battle. And just for us to go out of that physical game with the win, I mean, that's a big deal because, I mean, Duluth's a very good basketball team.
So we're watching the Carson Johnson miss now. What's going through your mind when they're coming up the floor with the ball?
Well, again, like I said, it just looked like so much like the Mankato game. Luckily, we had more time on the clock. I think there might have been, I don't know, 11, 12 seconds left as they're going up the floor. So it's like worst case scenario, let's say they get a quick bucket. You like to think you have an opportunity to come down and, respond to it. But yeah, that's I almost fell over about two or three times. I saw that ball tipping back and forth, and that ball was rimming in and out every single time they threw it up there. It wasn't
Yes.
just plain misses; like they were on the rim. It was like, my goodness. So yeah, you just appreciate those opportunities because we've all been on the wrong side of that end.
Carson Johnson's an 83% free throw shooter. I mean, you're guaranteed. You're pretty much saying it's an automatic. He's going to make that, right?
Yeah, I mean, and again, that's a big moment for a freshman.
Right.
And he grabbed me in the locker room after we had our fun, and he's like, "Coach, I'll promise you I'll never miss one of those again for this program." And it's like, "Hey, man, I got all the faith in the world in you, young
Wow.
man. Trust me." And he knows too, is like, because he's gonna be, he's our point guard. That's obvious. And it's like when people know you have the ball in your hands at the end of the game and it's winning time situation, like they need to know, like, all right, they're in trouble. And it's a great opportunity for him to grow and learn. And he needs to experience those kind of deals. And for him to experience that the wrong way, but to still win, thank God to the basketball gods.
Those are the kind of moments that we can't see in the locker room afterwards. How special was that one on Friday night after how the game ended?
Oh, we had our fun, believe me. Yeah, because I mean, we have an intense group, and we've grown to be an intense, edgy group now, and that's been fun because that's definitely who I am. But I don't care how ugly it is, whether we're happy or not. Like if you're on the right side of that win column, you take it and you enjoy it. So we had our fun. We were dancing, pushing each other around, screaming our heads off, and those are the moments that are always fun.
Well, edgy has got to be the way to describe on the road, Tim. 9-3. You guys are away from Nemzik this year. Why? Why the success in your mind? Is that what you're talking about? Why you guys are that good away from home?
Um, I'm not too sure on that one, but like we've always preached about, defense definitely travels, and we've had our moments of struggling on the defensive end and the 50-50 balls, and it's like offense obviously, it takes care of itself, but you got to do the hard stuff, the gritty stuff, the things that a lot of people just don't want to do, that don't show up in a box score. You got to be willing to do a lot of those things on the road if you want to win. You got to defend, you got to rebound every stinking 50-50 ball. We got to have all of them. That's what it really comes down to, on top of scoring the ball and taking care of the ball. But those just hard, gritty, nasty things, like you got to just love doing those kind of things because those really lead into giving yourself an opportunity to win a game.
So now I mentioned it's Winona and Mankato. You split that road trip. I know you'd want that Mankato game back in a heartbeat of how that played out. How different are you now with Benninga back to match up with these two teams?
Yeah, well, at Winona, we were coming off that 5-game losing streak,
Right.
and our guys were playing with some, I don't want to say desperation, but it was right there. I mean, we wanted to win really bad, and we shot the ball extremely well. I remember that specifically. And, you know, that's just basketball and how it is sometimes. So, I mean, I know Winona is going to be ready to come and play us. And I mean, I know they're playing for a lot. Anybody at this time of the year, they're playing for something. So it always increases the level of basketball play, which makes it really fun. But, you know, Winona's a dang good basketball team. They defend really well. You know, we have been shooting the three well too, but, you know, I hope that continues. So, and then going to Mankato, yeah, I mean, we had Jameer back. That was, if I remember, it might have been his first game back. And then, so it was a little different rotations, trying some new stuff, and then, you know, we had a big lead at Mankato as well, and you know, there's a lot of things that we're gonna have to show them on film that hey, we got to get better and tighten up on a lot of things, and then we'll see what happens. But they're two hot teams right now,
Yeah.
two high level teams, and like you said, I mean, I know they're ahead of us in the standings, but it's gonna be very interesting. I know anybody's a spectator, you should be glued in, you should be in Nemzik
No
watching these
doubt.
games, or have that
Absolutely.
laptop up and watching.
Jameer's status. What can you tell us about his health for this weekend?
Same thing as what it was for Cobb. It's a day-to-day deal. I'm waiting for those texts or those meetings from my trainer every other day. I'm waiting for that knock on my door to give me an update
Yeah.
because, I mean, even with so we'll see. I'm hopeful this weekend, but I really, honestly, I really don't know. But it was the same thing with Cobb, and I mean, it's a day-to-day deal, and
Yeah.
we're just kind of running with that. And even when we were trying to integrate Cobb back into the mix, I was just like you need to let me know because some people just think it's all sweet and awesome when he just gets something like that. It's like no, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. We got to get some consistency and rotations in, because everybody thinks like you implement a new player, it's all going to be great and fixed. Like no, it's it's not always just a quick fix. So we just got to make sure we're organized.
For people, Tim, that don't follow it close, the postseason breakdown, if you finish in the top four, then you're automatically going to Sioux Falls. You get a bye in the conference tournament, correct?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it's top four in the standings at the end of the year. They get the bye and they'll automatically go to the Pentagon. And then 5 through 8 host the first round. And then if you win that first round, then you get to go play at the Pentagon versus those teams. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like I know we've been talking, I've said a couple of times here, just as a basketball spectator, you should be jacked up for some basketball here for the NSIC tournament and just this weekend in general. But it's going to be very, very interesting. There's a lot of good teams, and it's how it is every year. But it's just such an even
Yeah.
conference right now. Just anybody could win it, and it's you know how it goes. Like you need to be playing your best basketball right now, and a lot of things need to go your way because that's just how the game goes sometimes. So to the best we can, we are going to worry about the Dragons, and we'll see how things fizzle out when it's all said
Well,
and done.
I mean, I know you're saying that, and I'll let you go on this. I mean, you could literally walk out of Nemzik Saturday night. You could have a share of the conference championship. I mean, that is motivation enough. It has to be, right?
Yeah, and it's without a doubt. Yes, I shouldn't think that's what motivates us by any means. I mean, we should just be motivated to play our best basketball and focus on a possession at a time. And if that leads to us winning a basketball game on Friday, amazing. Then we'll worry about the next step. But it's crazy to think for how the year has gone that we could be in that opportunity. So, but at the same time, with competition, if we don't do our job, we
Yeah.
can be sitting here with 2 losses
Yep.
after the weekend. So we're not going to get too caught up. I'm not going to get too excited about anything because it's just so many things could happen, and we just got to, like I said, the main objective for our program right now is just playing our best basketball and tightening up on both ends of the floor.
Well, you're doing that now, man. You won 6 in a row, and you want to be heating up in late February. You're doing that right now. Always great to visit with you. Good luck this weekend, and I'll have my eyeballs on those 2 games. Thanks for the time, bud, and we'll talk next week, okay?
Look forward to it. Appreciate it.
Tim Bergstraser joining us each and every Tuesday at 10:35. The Dragons, boy, if you're looking for basketball this weekend because the Bison are gone, Nemzik's the place to be. Friday night, it's Winona, 5:30, and then Saturday, Mankato at 3:30. Eric, if we have a quick second, if we could throw up the standings again. I mean, this is insane. I mean, 5 teams are tied at 14-6. Then the Dragons are a game back at 13-7 with Duluth, the team they just beat. I mean, it's just crazy. And if the Dragons sweep, they're 15-7. Don't know what happens. You take Winona and Mankato out of the mix. I mean, St. Paul's got Bemidji and Crookston. You can see where they're at. So it might be a tough road to get to the top spot. Southwest plays Mary and Northern. Again, they're in the bottom 2. So maybe for MSUM, the highest they can get is maybe 3rd, knowing that those 2 teams may sweep. But if it gives you a chance to share the conference championship or a game back and finish third from where they were, where they lost as many in a row as they did, that's pretty impressive. Just a tight basketball league in 2025 on the men's side of the NSIC. We'll break. We come back. We'll wrap things up, get you ready for a busy Sports Tuesday. We'll do that right after this on Hot Mic on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV, KNBN, and Inforum.com.